So we have some breaking news in real time. It's news that we suspected could be coming. It's news that we were going to talk about at 3:45 in dedicated fashion. That's how much on our radar this was, because if you've been following the NHL's offseason, you kept on hearing bubbling rumors and suggestions around one player within the Avs that's a household name, and that's Val Nichushkin.
Big Val.
And Val has just been traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Coming back to Colorado in exchange for Nichushkin is a second-round pick in this coming draft in 2026, which is new because they did not have a first or second-round pick, or I don't even know if they had a third-round pick coming up.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But they get a pick for this draft, a second-rounder. They get a third-rounder in 2027, and they get a fifth-rounder in 2028.
No players, right? No players.
No players. So it's a second-round pick this year, a third-round pick next year, and a fifth-round pick in 2028. If you're saying to yourself, that doesn't seem like much of a return, you'd be correct. This is almost by definition of what we would call a salary dump.
It's a straight salary dump. It's trying to get Val's money off the books and restart. Find another winger at some point. Val, his time has come to an end. He has done a great job as a Colorado Avalanche, helped win a championship. But at some point, it's like, man, if you can't recap what you did to win that championship and be the same version we need you to be, we got to move on from you. And then they end up finding a deal, and Val's out the door, Z.
Wow. Well, you like something can happen sometimes, and just life works like this, where you can know something could happen, and then when it happened, it still is impactful, even though you've sort of prepped yourself for that thing to happen. And I for sure have prepped myself for the Avs to move on from Valeri Nichushkin, but it's still like kind of one of these things like, damn, okay, like that chapter of Avalanche hockey, and what a doozy of a chapter the Val Nichushkin chapter ended up being. It officially comes to a close.
See, I just look at it as like, okay, he's the first like core member that you break up, that you get rid of. Now you brought back Kadri, and I know at the beginning of all this it was like, do we keep Val or do we bring back Kadri? You end up bringing back Val, and then that was a mess. Although you still won that championship. Now Val is gone. You're looking at this like, guys, if I'm a player, if I'm Gabe and Nate Dogg and them, it's like, we got to get things going, man. Like, this window, it's open still, but it's getting ready to shut if we don't find a way to win.
Well, honestly,
the
Mikko Rantanen trade should have done that.
That is true.
Like, Mikko's jersey might hang from Ball Arena, and I suspect it will. So, I mean, I'm not going to go too much down on a rabbit hole with it, because
why are you smirking while you say this, man? Just say and tell everybody how you feel.
Well, this whole Val chapter, it just never worked out. It never worked out. It did up until the Cup. And then they had the big boy decision to make that you referenced, him or Kadri. They pick Val. And what happened after that? I mean, let's just face it. It was mostly a disaster.
Big time distraction.
Like a huge, huge disaster, and definitely a distraction. And what happened that next year in the first round, and then there was another chapter of it, and he gets, it was just a mess. And then when he did get his head screwed on, it felt like he was half the player he was leading up to that Stanley Cup. I mean, there were actually conversations, and this is hard to believe now, but I remember being at Brothers Barbecue. There was conversations of, is Val Nichushkin trending towards like one of the 5 best players in the league?
Well, he was so hot at the beginning, and he was young, Z, and he was doing that at a young age, and it's like, yeah, like the sky is the limits for this man. And then it comes crashing down with the baggage and the stuff that went down that I don't even know if you want to talk about again, but like, it should be a 30 for 30.
It should definitely be a 30 for 30.
Especially when they're still trying to find that woman, and I don't know if they ever are going to find her. But for Val, it's just, you're right, Z. It has been a disaster. For Val, it's like, man, it's bittersweet. They won a championship with him, but after that, he didn't do his part to help this team try to win another championship.
No, it got really complicated. In fact, there has been no more complicated player than Val Nichushkin, here in the last, call it, a post-Cup. And the stuff with Gabe, that stuff was out of his control, right? And but even that kind of got tricky there for a while. It's like what is happening here? The Val stuff was sticky. The team became complicit with his decision making during that first round of the postseason against the Seattle Kraken in the year that they were trying to defend the cup. And I never liked that the team got into bed. The team had dirt underneath their fingernails when they did what they did to get Val out of that situation. And it's like I said, it's great for him as a human being that he finally did what we believe, get the help he needed, went to inpatient rehab, did the whole thing. And but then once that happened, he was half the player that he was. So it's just been a really fascinating chapter of Avs hockey for him specifically, for a lot of the wrong reasons. And like I said, that chapter comes to a close today. But two things can be true at the same time. He was so phenomenal on his way, on the Avs' way to a cup, that prompted once upon a time Nathan MacKinnon saying he was our best player on our championship run. And I think Nate actually believes that. And Cale got the Conn Smythe, but Val was just so
he was right there,
instrumental. It was remarkable the level that he raised himself to. And you did look at the age, and we got to remember, he flamed out in Dallas. He went a year without scoring a goal. And then he reclamated himself to a degree that no one could have seen, that we're having. Could he be one of the 5-10 best players in the sport? And then everything just unravels on the personal side. And
just so inconsistent, man.
Yeah.
With life off the ice and then on the ice. It's like, man, if you're going to do stuff off the ice, you better bring it on the ice. And he didn't do that.
No, he didn't.
Not consistently enough. And so now for Sakic, he's like, look, we got to move on. Great move for Sakic. I think, like you said earlier, we were all wondering when this was going to happen. It's a salary dump. The Avs saved $6.1 million because of that. Getting rid of Ross Colton, they saved $4 million. Getting rid of Val today, they're saving $6.1. So what was that, around 10.9 around?
Yep, nearly $11 million they have now.
So for Sakic, it's like, what are you going to do with that, man? You have to strengthen up the blue line, on the blue line with the pairings. And we've talked about maybe Devon Taves taking a step back and being on the second pairing. And finding somebody that can pair with Cale, and then of course you're gonna have to go out there and find another winger.
So here's what's happening, guys. Super Joe is wheeling and dealing right now.
Super Joe is not messing around.
No. So you have the Ross Colton trade. That was about a week ago or so?
Yeah.
You have the Jack Jury trade yesterday, and now you have Val Nichushkin. If you're just joining us, Val Nichushkin has been traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets for 3 draft picks. A second-round draft pick in 2026, here right around the corner, a third-round draft pick here in 2027, a fifth-round draft pick in 2028. If you're expecting to hear more sizzle or a bigger name, that's not what this transaction was about. This was about dumping salary to do other stuff. And so I fully expect Joe Sakic and the organization to spend right up into the cap. This is a hard cap sport, right? This is not like the NBA. It's not like the NFL and the way that you can sort of manipulate things. Well, there's certain mechanisms you can, but I expect a corresponding move. I really do here in the next week or so. Drew Spivak behind the glass. You breathe hockey. Talk to me about how many draft picks do the Avalanche have here right around the corner in this draft.
Yeah, what they've accumulated over the last couple of days now, they have 10 picks in this year's draft. Now, they don't have a first rounder, which is something you would like to have, although it, for the Avs case, it would have been 28 or 28, 29, somewhere in that range. Yeah. But you've got a second rounder, a third rounder, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, no 6, but you got 4 seventh rounders. So this gives you some ammunition to make other deals and make other moves, because you still got roster spots you got to fill. You've only got 4 defensemen under contract right now.
Right.
Yeah. You got to figure out, all right, are we bringing Brett Kulak back? Well, now you have the money where you can bring Brett Kulak back. You can bring Brent Burns back if you want to.
Please no.
I would agree with that.
Old man Burns.
You could go and you can upgrade the position. You probably still need to go find another forward now, because, now Nazem Kadri could slot into that second line and be on the wing now, although they've said all along they kind of want him to be a center.
Right.
So we'll see how that plays out. So Joe's not even close to done. I would expect at least maybe another move, because we got the draft tomorrow night.
Right.
We're probably going to get at least 1, maybe 2 more moves over the course of this week before free agency starts on Wednesday.
But you're saying moves. But my question to you is, do you see anybody else getting traded from the Avs, or is it like adding people now?
I think it's adding people now. Yeah, especially now with 10 draft picks. Like, that's a big deal. They didn't have these 10 draft picks.
No, the cupboard was empty.
It was empty. So I think you got St. Louis is in this deal. I think that's the Columbus, it was St. Louis's second-round pick. You got Nashville's third-round pick in the trade for Jack Drury yesterday. So if you've added some nice ammunition to go out and make more corresponding moves to where you don't have to trade roster pieces from your active roster.